Did you know Chicago has had 7 different city halls, or so they say, and most of them built on the same site? So let's get in and have a look at this story. And to start with, we have this picture, and it says this is on May the 1st and 2nd, 1885, when more than 7,000 mourners per hour came through the rotunda of the Chicago City Hall building to pay their respects to Abraham Lincoln. And it's got a bit of a story about how his body was taken on a train and stopped at 4 cities on the way to its grave. So this is the City Hall in Chicago as of 1865. As we can see, it's an old world building, Antiquitech on the top. It looks like there's a train track going around it here. So zooming in, I don't think it's a train track, but it does look like there could be something there, but obviously there's nothing running on it. But this is the building. I'm not sure what this is inside. This entrance doorway it's 2-story, obviously, because you've got the windows here. But even the first story, you can see is the people are down here, and this, whatever this is, it's probably for the memorial of Abraham Lincoln. That's about the level of the floor. So again, the doorway is at least 3 times as high as the people. And, we have the stairs going up, and can't see any mud flood windows. This one looks to be pretty low, but definitely an old world building and lots of Antiquitech. And interesting, look at these poles. They look like what we're told are barber poles, right? These painted poles. You see them a lot in the old world. They're probably more of a marker for what this machine, right? I don't think it's a building that made for us to live in, but what this machine was originally used for. So let's have a look at these 7 city halls of Chicago. So this is Chicago's City Hall number 1, built in 1837 as the city charter was being developed. Chicago's leading citizens leased spaces in the saloon building at the southeast corner of Lake and Clark Streets. The word saloon at that time did not imply so much a tavern, but more a spacious meeting hall. And it was derived from the French word salon. There you go. So this was the first City Hall of Chicago. Of course, it's not the whole building. Like I said, they were just renting some of the rooms in this building. And of course, this is just a drawing. We've got our horse and cart here. So, this may be completely made up, right? It's not a photo. They definitely had photography. Photography was about 10 years old when this building was built. But as you'll see, they've already got street lamps here. As we can see, no gas bottle, no container here or place that a gas bottle could be placed. So if this is gas, it means it's completely plumbed underground with gas pipes, bringing gas to all of these lamps. All right, and this is done in a city that didn't have its sewage done yet, because it's either that or it's electric, because obviously there's nowhere here in this lamp to store gas to run this gas lamp. So it's either got gas plumbing all through the city or it's electric, which I find interesting. And this building, clearly, it's an old world building. So this is the Chicago City Hall number 2, the Widow Chapman's building. And this was in 1842. It says the saloon building leases had expired and city business was now conducted in a building owned by the Widow Chapman at the corner of LaSalle and Randolph Streets. So this, again, is clearly a drawing and not a very good one. But this is, the second building they use for the Chicago Town Hall. Just looks wooden. They've drawn it as wooden, quite basic. But as we saw in the picture before, this is clearly a masonry building. All right, it's got chimneys, it's got tiles on the roof. It's 3-story. It's a masonry building. And then they go back to this wooden shack owned by a widow. So interesting story. They haven't yet got their proper city hall. And so here it is, the first purpose-built city hall of Chicago. This is City Hall number 3, the Old Market Hall. In 1848, the city constructed its first dedicated city hall building, Old Market Hall. It was located in the middle of State Street between Randolph and Lake, with offices on the second floor and market stalls on the street level. It was designed by John Van Osdell and cost $11,000 in 1848 to build this. So clearly this looks like a church of some kind. Look at the steeple here. And by the way, this steeple already looks like they've either blurred out stuff on it. I mean, this is, you know, a pretty old racking photo that's been photocopied by the looks of it, or it could have been a drawing, but whatever was on this tower has been taken down. You can see just got doorways going to nowhere here, isn't it? So it's either been, you know, edited out, blotted out, or it wasn't drawn in the first place, or it wasn't there. But this is the first dedicated city hall. And like I said, I mean, this, you've got this, the spire, right? So offices on the second floor, and on the bottom were market stalls, is what we're told. And of course, so far, we haven't had any information on how long it took to construct any of these city halls. They just, you know, that obviously the first two weren't constructed, but this one, it says nothing, right? 1848, the city constructed its first dedicated halls. So I guess we've got to take that as it was built in 1 year. Okay, I mean, a lot of these buildings built in 1 year. Okay, so now we have Chicago City Hall number 4, the City Hall County Building. And this was built in 1853. 1853, just 5 years after the original hall, which was built in 1848. 5 years. And they have already replaced it with this, clearly an old world building. You can see, I mean, you know, all the normal features, right? The huge doorways, the porticos, the columns, the towers, the domes. I mean, clearly, I mean, you can see there's 2 domes on the roof here as well. We've got one here and here, up the top of the steeple as well. And all the usual features, and even stairs going up, and some windows pretty close to the ground. And the whole thing surrounded in what but a wood picket fence. So clearly, again, 2 completely different levels of technology here. So this, they tell us, well, actually, they don't tell us. They just say a new city hall building was constructed on the block bounded by LaSalle and Washington, Clark and Randolph Streets. Its location today. So again, 1853, and it's just saying it was built. So what do we assume? 1 year for that one as well? And of course, 5 years after the original big masonry old world building was apparently built in 1 year. And here we have a photo of the building number 5, and you can see in this photo, it looks like a different building already. For starters, the 2 domes on the top have gone. You've still got this tower here, but the 2 domes present in this picture, you can see the tops of the domes, they're gone. But we have the tower here. So this is supposed to be the same building. Okay, you can see it looks similar. We've got the tower here. But again, it looks like it's smaller. Like we've got the main bit here, this first side bit, and then another side bit with 3 windows. And look at the patina, right? The age, the wear on this building up in the top corners here. Now, this is marked as a photo from the 1850s. So even if we go out to 1859, this building was built in 1853. So even at 1859, this is 6 years old, and look at the wear on this. I mean, look at this. And again, right, like they've built this building 4 stories tall, you know, very large stories as well. And they've got their little wooden ladder up here. You know, this is the level of tech, you know, crawling around the roof with ladders. And just, by the way, look at the background. Look at all these buildings, completely built out in old world buildings in Chicago in the 1850s. Now, this is an interesting one. This is Chicago City Hall number 5. And, yeah, right, interesting photo. But this says City Hall number 5, the old Rookery. The city mobilized quickly to build a new city hall around an elevated water tank at Dearborn and LaSalle Street and moved in 1873. So this one, just 20 years after the previous building was built. 20 years. And these are buildings that are still around today. So we know they last a distance, right? So this is an interesting one. But basically, they've built a new building housed inside an old tank. And the building was intended to be temporary while they were collecting bids to build a larger, more permanent city hall. And as you can see, this is a picture of destruction. So we're in the 1870s. So this, Chicago, this could be post-Civil War. I mean, what they tell us was a Civil War. Something has flattened this city. But look at it. This is all bricks. This isn't wood lying around on the ground. This is all bricks. This tower here is red brick. All right. And I'm pretty sure, I guess this is the water tower they're talking about. So I guess we can assume that the previous building was destroyed. And so they've had to build a new one. But that lasted 20 years as per the narrative. But look out here. Look at all these huge, tall buildings. Right? It's almost like a city, skyline of today. Look at all in the 1870s in Chicago. And clearly the whole city, it was built out, brick buildings, and it's just been destroyed. Okay, so this is building number 6. Built in 1885. It wasn't officially called the Boondoggie, but this city hall took much longer to build than expected, which is good because all the other ones only took a year, right? It cost more than planned, and it was out of date, overcrowded, and poorly suited to its use by the time it was completed. Out of date. Plans for a more functional building were begun almost immediately, if you believe that one. So again, horse and cart days. This is 1885. Okay, after they moved out of the water tank. And this is a very large building, right? You can see the levels of the floor, still, 3 times the height of a person. Looks like we've got mud streets, with some walkways around them. Massive tank or dome on the top, chimneys, definitely an old world looking building. But by the time it was built, it was already out of date because they were just progressing so fast, right? And of course, we just saw the previous photo, like this was a city 12 years earlier. It was destroyed. And then they had this nice new building. So it would have been one of the biggest, nicest buildings in the city, clearly, because they took it over, right? Stole it and claimed it as the city hall. But this would have been, one of the best buildings standing because the rest of the city was destroyed. So interesting. So this is number 6 in 1885. We're already up to Chicago City Hall number 6. And here we go for number 7. We have a photo here. So Chicago City Hall number 7. And this one, this shot, it says is from the 1920s, but this building was completed in 1910. And look at this monster. This is the biggest of them all. It's ridiculous. It says City Hall number 7, Hollibird and Roche. I'm not sure if that's the name. It's probably the people that they say designed and built it. But the City Hall with the longest tenure is the current City Hall. Current City Hall and County building completed in 1900, dedicated in 1911, and designed by Hollibird and Roche, and built on the site of the 1853 City Hall. It was the first building designed in accordance with the Burnham Plan for Chicago. So this is the current City Hall, and like I said, look at this. This is just huge, solid, old world constructions. On the roof here, we've got lions. Of course, we see the lions everywhere. That's obviously connected to certain bloodlines and families. Of course, we've got a random ladder going up here. Always got to have the ladder. Big towers. I'm not sure what this up here is. It looks like a little, I don't know, lookout station. Doesn't look like it's part of the original building. But again, look at the size of this, right? These are the people. Okay, this is just like the top of the foundation. You can see the bottom story, and it's literally almost as tall as this person. In here, you can see this guy. They're only like their shoulders are coming up to the windowsill, and then the windows are 3 times their height almost. Over here, we have, this is the best, right? A doorway, which is clearly, this is one of those 2-story doorways, entrances. You can see there's clearly two stories, right? And so they have built this little, I don't know, cover, balcony thing, and made it to the level of the 1st story. And what did they use to build it? Wood. Right? Wood. Look at this. Look at how much stone is in this building, how well it's carved, how well it's put together, how every surface is detailed and done perfectly, right? And also perfect symmetry. Here's a little fountain by the looks of it. And this is what they can actually build. Again, the 2 different types of technology. All right, this is wood. Wood and nails. This is a completely different story. Moving this wood is a completely different story to moving this rock. So they show us in the photos that they didn't build this. This is what they could build. This wooden little portico, veranda, roof thing. All right, not this massive building in the background. So there you go. 7 buildings were used, for the Chicago City Hall in the 1800s, the first one in the 1840s. So really in 60 years, they had 7 different halls, meaning each place was used on an average less than 10 years. And a lot of them were built in 1 year, and then, one was discarded within 5 for no apparent reason. So what do you think? Leave me a comment below. Do you think that all these buildings were found, leftovers from the old world, and the new, those who wish to rule us have come in and just claimed them, right? Claimed their free masonry, right? Those people. And basically, that's why they claim the best buildings and take them themselves and use them as their centers of control. This is where they settle out all the rules and their law, LAW law, which is not real law. Real law is LORE, right? The law of the folks, man, the folklore, not the corporate law. So this is the story. We see it so often all around the realm. These massive, oversized buildings. We're told that they're just thrown up. Someone designed them and built them. No explanation given, really. But when we look at them, we see the level of tech that they were at. And it is not masonry like this. It is wood like this. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. The 7 city halls of Chicago. Interesting little story. So thanks for spending some time with me. Please give me a like if you enjoy this video. Share it around. And, of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you would like to support this channel and my work, you'll find links below. And most importantly, stay awesome. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins. Come on!